monarch. It doesn't cost us. The only thing it costs us is whatever we pay the governors general and benefits. And a lot of people are going, oh, my God, do you know how much money she makes? Compare that to how much the government wastes. It's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. And I think what you need is just better quality people in those positions, and all this furor goes away.
Well, as our friend Mike Patton once told me, with regard to Senate reform, his answer to a problem with the Senate was, if you think we have bad senators, don't reform the Senate. Appoint better senators.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you have a problem with your members of Parliament, don't talk about parliamentary reform. Elect better representatives.
Pay more attention to who you're electing.
Right. And so it's kind of like that. Yeah, I don't completely get the people that say, oh, the Queen is a terrible person. I mean, I don't know.
I think she's one of the most admired women on the planet.
It could be. It could be. Certainly she has a role to play, a constitutional role, and I'm all for maintaining that.
Well, ask yourself this. As far as, maintaining the monarchy under... from the point of view of my argument, it doesn't cost us anything. So why would you throw it out if, first of all, it's not necessarily broken as far as we're concerned? We just need to put a better driver in the car. It's like taking NASCAR and being mad at the car for not finishing first when you've got some kid who doesn't know how to ride a bicycle behind the wheel. Don't blame the car, right? Get a better driver. So you've got now... The only thing is you pay a person $175,000 plus benefits or whatever the salary is. That's nothing, and there's no ship going across the ocean carrying Canadian bullion to the British royal family. It just doesn't happen. And so why change it?
Well, one of the complaints that was raised was that they were told, apparently, that they were no longer going to get protection, security.
You mean Merkel and her husband
and Harry. And the way that was portrayed was that it was some kind of vengeance. That you're going to drop out of doing royal service. Well, we're not going to protect you anymore. You're on your own. That was kind of the way that it was conveyed. But the reality is that they're only entitled by law to protective services if they are doing royal service. So they can opt out of royal service, but if they opt out of royal service, then the taxpayer no longer has an obligation to pay for their security. And most of this security kerfuffle didn't actually happen in England. It happened here in Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
The government here who said, well, if you guys are not doing this, that's your choice, but you have to arrange for your own security.
The other thing about all this is, first of all, I feel for Harry. I really do, for Prince Harry.
Sure.
And I mean that sincerely, because... Okay, I can imagine him sitting on it with 3 days' growth of beard in his face, in a muscle shirt and his underwear, sitting with his feet up playing Xbox, while Megan's in the back sweeping the floor and doing the dishes. And she looks at him and says, "Will you just go get a job?" Okay, so what is an heir apparent to the British throne going to do for a job? Is he going to go down and flip burgers at Harvey's? Is he going to go and pour coffee at Tim Hortons? Is he going to work at Walmart as a greeter?
I don't know.
Exactly. He has such a small opportunity, small window of opportunities open to him because of who he is, through no fault of his own. He didn't ask to be born into the royal family.
Right.
So now here he is. He's out there. He's got a beautiful wife. There's no question about it. But at the same time, he's got this burden on his shoulders. I can't go get a job because let's say that he eats a huge slice of humble pie, and for all I know he would, and he wants to sell cars at the local car dealership. Pick your favorite brand. And he's standing there on the floor, and he's waiting for the first customer to walk in, and they go, "Oh my God, it's Prince Harry." and all of a sudden the place is a madhouse.
Right.
He can't work. The dealership couldn't deal with that, and neither could he.
But I don't know how the royal finances, all of the details and how they're organized or arranged. But this much I do know. The House of Windsor, the family, has its own private holdings.
Yep.
And most of the property that they live on is not government-owned property. It's money. It's property that they themselves own. And they have a private income in addition to a certain amount of a stipend that comes from taxpayers by virtue of the fact that they perform certain constitutional and public service functions, okay?
Right.
Okay. So Harry may no longer be entitled to
the
taxpayer side of money.
Right.
But I cannot believe, and I don't think I heard anybody suggesting that he was cut off from the family money, okay, which would be substantial. So I don't think he needs a job, and I think that if they wanted to pay for security, they could afford to pay for private security.
But that's not what I'm driving at, though. I agree with you. He doesn't need the money. But what does he do to fill his days if he's not out reviewing the troops, launching a ship, maybe even being in the Royal Air Force? I think, was it him or his brother that was in the Royal Air Force as a helicopter pilot?
His uncle. But he served. He was
usually the boys go into the military at some point.
For sure.
Okay, so, all right, how does he fill his days? I mean, you can only, look, as somebody who's been on COVID, you know, we've all been trapped with COVID and unable to go to work.
Well,
at first, well, I'm speaking in a general royal we kind of way, the country at large. At first, when you are off work, it's great because now you can sit around and do nothing and maybe, you know, engage in your favorite hobby, fishing, golfing, whatever it is. But after a while, that gets stale. Because people, I think, being creative is what gives them purpose in life. Beyond any religious point of view or theology, when it comes to day-to-day existence, people need a reason to exist.
Well, okay, so take up painting. Take up sculpture.
Fine, but
take up writing. You know, there's that's the whole idea of leisure. The whole
but leisure is only what you fill the gaps between your daily efforts with.
No. Historically, the whole idea of having leisure time was that you worked, and if you had to work, you had to work. But if you were a person of means, then you could engage in the cultural milieu, and you could pursue that kind of thing as well. So it wasn't something that you did in between. That was the whole concept of leisure, is that, you know, we want to give people more leisure time because they will then become more sophisticated, more refined, if you will. And I mean,
you know,
whether
I would
it worked
agree
out that way or not is a different question.
I was going to say I would agree with that, except for the fact that work is its own reward. There's something about putting in a day's work, looking over your shoulder, and say, "There, I accomplished something today."
Sure, and Winston Churchill
laid bricks. He wrote. He did all kinds of things.
Well, writing was that's how he made a living.
Yes.
He made a living giving speeches and primarily in his writing.
Yes.
And he made a very good living.
Well, especially as his popularity rose.
And but you know, when he was tired of writing, he went out and laid bricks.
So, but I can't see Harry going out and laying 1,000 bricks.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, the bottom line is this, okay? I'm sorry for the whole affair. I really...
I just read what Marin said. Only boring people get bored.
Only boring.
Are you saying I'm boring, Marin? Is that it?
Yeah. Well, see, I never get bored.
No, I get bored because I don't have the finances to do the things I want to do.
And neither do I all the time, and therefore I accept my role in life.
All right, fair enough.
I accept my station in life. If I get the finances to do more, or I earn more to do more.
Well, if we can get Marin, to send us a big fat check that covers us for the rest of our lives, we can go and do all the leisure things that we wouldn't be bored doing.
But I don't get bored.
No.
I don't.
I wouldn't get bored.
The greatest gift that we can give our children is the ability to read.
Yes,
I believe.
I think
because if you can read and you can read well, then you can entertain yourself, you can educate yourself. I mean, there is absolutely no limit to what is possible if you can read. That is the single most important skill that you can give your children.
All right.
That and swimming.
I would have said fishing, but okay. All right, Joseph, I think it's time for us to take a break. Stick around, folks. We'll be back with more on The Nick and Joe Show right after this.